racer, old Escort. Hello once again YouTube. Who's that? This is Sparky Rides again, out for another ride. Out there on a lovely sunny day once again in Kent. I don't know where we're getting all this weather from. Must be working its way over from France, I should think. But it's certainly very nice. Hopefully you can hear me a bit better today. I'm keep spending money trying to get these videos right. Yesterday we were out, not yesterday, the day before we were out on the bike sporting the new Sony HDR AS100V camera, but I was using the old microphone and the old microphone didn't like that camera for some reason, so it was a rubbish audio quality. So I bought myself a new microphone which is compatible with the Sony camera, so hopefully today you can hear every word I say. I'm not sure that you will, but we'll see when I come to edit it. If I edit it and it's I don't hear a thing, then the Sony camera will be going back as well, but no, hopefully it'll be fine. Right, today I was going to talk about, as this channel's all about my journey back into biking after a long break of 17 years without being on two wheels. I was going to talk about the difference between the bikes of my day, when I used to ride in the 70s, and the bikes of today, and the power differences between the two, or the eras, should we say, and also volumes of traffic and riding conditions. So it's going to be a long video, about 3 hours if you want to go and make a cup of tea now, get a few biscuits, a sandwich perhaps, but I'll condense it down, don't worry. So yeah, the difference between the bikes of my youth and the bikes that youth can ride today, phenomenal difference. Let's go back to the 70s. The first bike I ever rode on the actual road itself, Luna's don't even nod here, was a Yamaha YD3 two-stroke, and I bought this Yamaha when I was 16 with the intention of getting it all on the road ready for when I was 17, because the law changed around about then. Before then, a year before my birthday, I think it was, they changed the bloody law from 16 you could ride or you could ride anything up to 17. So my first bike was a Yamaha YD3, which I bought in a box. It was a whole bike. Frame and wheels were all in one piece, but the engine was in a box. As a 16-year-old, it taught me a lot about mechanics, because I rebuilt the engine completely, put new pistons, new rings. The guy I bought it off had already had it rebored, so he's done that bit. Luckily, round the corner from me, where I live there, there's a crossing right there, dear. Lazy bitch. Was the Yamaha dealer, and it was a great help, because the mechanic was very helpful around there. I just go around there and ask him things, and he'd show me what to do, and you know, how to do it. And yeah, so I rebuilt this thing, got it on the road, took it round there for an MOT, and the man who owned the place was gobsmacked, because it was quite an old bike even then. You know, it was, I forget what year it was, but even in the 70s it was quite an old bike. So back in amazement. He said, he looked at the registration and looked around it, and he said, I sold this bike came from here. God knows how many years, I think how many years ago he said now, but it's quite a long time ago. It's been advised now, in case you can't hear me. He said, I sold this originally. This was brand new from my dealership. Oh, that's good then. So, I don't know if that swayed him with the MOT-ing, but anyway, it sailed through the MOT, no problem at all. And I think it was about a month later I got my licence and got it all insured, was out on the road on it, And as I've said in other videos, we didn't have any training. We didn't get trained in those days. There's your bike, off you go. You know, you could ride a push bike. So you must be able to ride a motorbike because it's easier. You ain't got a pedal. So yeah. So off I'm out on this thing, and the bloody thing was so unreliable. The points used to need adjusting after every ride. Carburetors needed cleaning out almost during every ride. So I didn't keep it very long. I rode it for about 3 months, I think, and I just got fed up with just keep stripping it down and repairing it after every time I go out on it. So I then cunningly got it running properly after stripping it all down again, and you know, getting the points right, getting the carbs cleaned and getting it running sweet. Took it to another local dealer to part exchange it in for a oh, I didn't say, did I? Sorry, that was a 250. That was a two-stroke 250, the Yamaha, and I traded that in at a dealership in Maidstone that was no longer here for a Honda CB 250. It wasn't the Dream or the Super Dream, it was just called a CB 250, and it was a K2 version. And this looked lovely sitting out the front. This was all set up with clip-ons and rear sets. I thought, yeah, I can race around on that. And it did. That was a 4-stroke, obviously, being a Honda. I'm not sure that Honda's ever made 2-strokes, but that was a 4-stroke. So yeah, and you know, I used to hang around with the big boys on their 650 Triumphs and what have you, and it was great fun. Now, going back to what I was saying about comparing those bikes with today's bikes, I think even with a 250, today's 250 would absolutely hammer the 250s of those times, unless you had the you know, like the 250 Super Sport bloody two-stroke things that rev to God knows what, and you know. But if you were to take, say, I don't know, the Kawasaki 250 Ninja of today, which I know the modern one is a 300, but if you took the 250 version, I'm sure that would outdo the 250 Honda that I rode in those days. And I thought I was going fast. I mean, it would do 90 at a push. I mean, that used to rev to, I think, 10,500 revs, the old Honda. And you could redline it and just about squeeze 90 out of it. And the trouble is, because hanging about the 650s, who could do that? Not say cruising, I mean their maximum speed was probably about 100, 105. If you really had one that was super duper, you'd probably stretch about 110 out of it. But for them to do 90 was not a big deal. For me to do 90 on my 250, redlining it, was a pretty big deal. So that's the difference. I mean, I know that the 250s don't go much faster, but they get up there a lot quicker. They got a lot more bottom end power. I mean, even this little thing I'm riding, the old Ninja Cruiser 250, as I call her. I'm pretty sure this hasn't got 7 gears, has it? No. I'm pretty sure that this would have outdone my 250 Honda, which I thought I was really racing around on. But it was all good fun in those days, so, you know. And there wasn't the traffic in those days. You know, you could go for a ride down the coast on a weekend, and you didn't see half the traffic you see now. I mean, I'm just out for a Saturday morning ride around the countryside. And you think back to then, you wouldn't see probably a third of the cars that you see now coming along this road. So in that respect it was easier to ride, because let's say overtaking and things like that, there was less traffic about, so there was less to look out for, and you had more chance of completing your ride in one piece and still alive, you know, without crashing, so we say. I mean, I've said it in other videos, I've never come off at high speed, and I don't wish to, so it's, you know, that's not really in the equation. But the traffic situation, the amount of traffic is in the equation. So the youth of today has to learn to ride in heavy traffic, you know, and they do it very well from what I see on YouTube, some of the videos they put up, you know, with all their high speed lane splitting, whatever they call it. But that's not for me. I can't do that, my nerves wouldn't take that. But no, so the training you get nowadays I think helps, because the bikes you ride nowadays are super duper bloody fast. You know, you learn, I know you have to learn on your 125, and then I think if you're 17 you learn on your 125, you pass your test on that, and you can go up to an A2 licence, and then you have to sit on that for 2 years I believe, or until you're 19, I don't know. And then you're allowed to go up to the next stage, but the next stage is pretty high. You know, even at 19, 20 years old, it's a big machine to be riding. You know, if you get one of these, I don't know, something like a Ninja 636, imagine, I don't know what the actual power output is, one of those, probably about 100 brake horsepower or more. And the speed is absolutely phenomenal. It's not just the speed, it's the takeoff speed, you know, the acceleration. You must be hanging on for dear life sometimes, I should think, with, you know, if you really open her up. Which is why I set my 250 at the moment, because I'm getting used to it again. So that's the difference between the bikes I used to ride and the bikes you guys ride nowadays. That's not to say we didn't have as much fun. We probably did have as much fun, you know, because biking, no matter what you're on really, is fun, you know. Even these kids on scooters, they have fun. So if you're on two wheels and you've got an engine, I think it's probably a lot of fun. But yeah, that's the difference nowadays, and that's why I consider a good idea that they've brought in the CVT, and you know, you have to do 2 different tests and what have you before you can ride a big powerful machine. Because when you're young, you're maybe not quite as sensible as an older person. I know there's some stupid old people on the road. I've heard of people returning to riding after years and years and years and going to buy bloody rocket threes and killing themselves, you know, because they didn't realise they thought it would be the same as riding their old 650 Bonneville. Not quite, no. I mean, this thing I'm riding now, the Ninja Cruiser, it's probably got as much oomph as an old Bonneville, you know, from the 60s and 70s. So no, there's a big difference in what you ride now and what we rode then. And as I say, the traffic situation is also a lot different. You know, if you go out for I mean, I'd love to go out down the coast on my bike, but the wife won't come on the back, so we have to go in the car. But when I'm driving down, say, to Hastings, you get stuck in quite a bit of traffic. You know, you think, oh come on, Sunday drivers, even in your car. But if you was on the bike, you'd be whipping past it, obviously. But there's still a lot to look out for, because there's still an awful lot coming the other way, you know. And even on these big powerful machines, you've got to be absolutely spot on with your judgment before you overtake somebody. So that's my views on the difference between what I rode, what you ride. I have ridden in between. I did have a bike, well, I had quite a few bikes. I had let's think what we had. When I was in my 30s, I bought late 30s, I bought, because once you've ridden a bike, it's always in your blood, isn't it? You just keep looking at them and want to be on one again. So yeah, in my late 30s, I bought this CBR 600. It wasn't the super duper sport thing that they ride now, but it was pretty quick. It was like, you know, 16 valve, like having a car engine underneath you. So I'm just going to turn left here. You probably recognise this from the other way. Been the other way before, but not this way. But yeah, that was a CBR. I'm sure it was a CBR. Might have just been a CB, but it was a 4-cylinder, 16 valve thing. Boy, Christ, did that go! I mean, you know, it was all faired up. Not my taster bike, but I just saw it and it was a good price. Fancy getting back on a bike again. But the trouble is, nobody else I knew was back on a bike. So I was out riding Billy and mates. And I rode that for about 3 months. And then I had trouble with the alternator, and I thought, oh, that's a big job. And I asked somebody, and they said, yeah, that's a big job. You've got to strip half the engine down to get to the alternator. It's not cheap to buy, and I'd only paid, I think I paid about 350 quid for this bike. It wasn't a huge amount of money, right here. So I eventually sold that. And then when I was in my 40s, midlife crisis, I bought a Kawasaki Z1000. That went. That was nice. Wouldn't mind having that back, but I sold that after a year, 18 months, I think. Lost, you know, just didn't have time to go out riding in those days. Unfortunately, so lost interest and sold that to my brother-in-law. He loved it. He's a nutter. He loves power. Same age as me. But I mean, he rides a Rocket 3, so because he swapped my old Kawasaki in for a Triumph Thunderbird, brand new one, and then he's now got a Rocket 3. So yeah. He loves a bit of oomph. I love a bit of oomph, but I want to do it the right way. I want to get the feel of it properly again. I don't want to be making, if I can ride with me 250 without making mistakes, then I might think about getting something bigger. And I keep thinking about getting something bigger now, actually. I keep looking at, as I said the other day in a video, I was looking at a CBF 500. And yeah, it's quite a nice bike, and I'm very tempted still, but it's funny, isn't it? You get the feel for bikes again, you think, oh, I could ride a big powerful one, but I'm not sure I could just yet, so I better hang on to this. I've actually put this Ninja Cruiser, it's actually up for sale on eBay, but it says a classified ad, so it's not going anywhere quick. I just thought I'd put it up there to see what interest there was, you know, if people are interested in buying 250s, or whether I've got to trade it in. And it's been up, I think it's been up about 2 days now, 2 or 3 days. And it's got 11 people watching it, and it's had over 100 views, so there must be an interest in 250s still. Didn't want to follow this car, but that's the way I want to go. So. Yeah, so there must be an interest. I've certainly got an interest in it. I mean, it's a lovely little bike. It's only because you've had bigger in the past, and you think, oh yeah, I could, you know. I don't know. Would I ride any faster? I'm not sure, would I? You can only ride the speed limits really legally, can't you? I know around these country lanes and that I'd be whooping it a bit if this car wasn't in front of me, but I'm not going to overtake him because there's too many bends on this bit. So lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, we was talking about bikes in my time and this time, weren't we? Yeah, so that's the view really. I think you guys who ride now are a lot better riders than we were in those days. I'm not saying you're a better rider than I am now. Oh no. No, but the training you go through and the test you take, you've got to be better at it, I would say, than we were. I think I said in another video, when I took my bike test, funny enough, I'd done it on a mate's bike, but mine was out of action at the time, so I borrowed his Honda CD 175, which was an old man's bike, but you know, it plodded along. Anyway, I took my test on that. I only took my test because I wanted to take the girlfriend on the back, not because I wanted to go out and get a bigger bike. I just wanted to sit the girlfriend on the back so I could take her out. But yeah, when I took my test, you used to drive out the test centre. We're talking, you know, we're back in the 70's here, before a lot of you were born. Just drive out the test centre, and the bloke, or before you drove out, the bloke would say, you know, you do your eye test thing. Can you read that number plate? No. The guy with the clipboard, who was on foot, not following on a bike, he was on foot. So you knew he was only going around the block, you weren't going far. So he'd say to you, oh, go out the test centre, I'd like you to turn left, then take the first right, and keep turning right until I flag you down. Look out for me waving my clipboard. Oh, okay. And so you're riding in the town, so you can only ride 30 miles an hour or less. They couldn't see, I mean, they saw you ride off, then they'd have to trot off to where they wanted to stand to see you ride past them again. To see, you know, he would keep stepping out in front of you and stopping you, and then you'd have to, he'd say, I'm going to jump out in front of you next time and you've got to do an emergency stop. You were really brave, you know. So yeah, that's how you took a test in those days. No test at all really, is it? But I passed my test back then, and because I passed it back then, I can go and pick out the biggest, most powerfulest bike I want to ride. Because I'm an old git, the insurance would be stupidly cheap, and I could go and kill myself if I wished. I don't wish, so I won't. That's why I'm sitting on a little 250 Ninja Cruiser, because it's far safer as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, that was how what our test consisted of. And then when you got back to the test centre, before he told you whether you passed or failed, he'd flick through this little book of road signs, and you'd have to tell him what the road signs meant. And the car test was much the same. I know that the bloke was in there in the car with you, but that's all you needed to know. Are you going? Are you going, red car? No, you're not going. There's a bike beside you. Stupid old git. Come on, I want to go across. Somebody's got to stop. Oh, no one's going to stop. Got different boots on today, I keep messing up the gears. Yeah, so that's how we took the test. So if anyone tells you, you youngsters, that you can't ride and you don't do enough training, then let the fuck off. Better come and see me. I'll put them right. Yeah, you do a lot of training compared to what I did, and compared to what all my mates did. But we did try and improve our riding, although we were crazy young people. We did try and learn to ride better. You know, every time we were out, we were trying, not just layering around. We were trying to perfect our riding techniques and sort of thing. So we had to be self-taught in that respect. We didn't have a bloke riding behind us, kitted up with microphones and loudspeakers and things. We had to learn it all for ourselves, really. So yeah, you're much more fortunate. You might not feel more fortunate because you've got to do compulsory tests, and you know your power is restricted for so long at a certain age. But believe me, it's better to be alive and riding a small bike than not being alive, isn't it? Let's just be honest there. So yeah, get a bit morbid now. Anyway, that's it now. I'm going to sign off. Hope you've enjoyed the ride, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget, please like the video, please dislike the video. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, dislike it. Come on, let's have some interaction here. If you want to ask something, if you want to suggest a subject for us to talk about, leave a comment. And please, if you like us, subscribe to the channel. Just press the little red button and it says you have subscribed, and then you'll get notifications when I make my next video, so you won't have to go searching anywhere. It will come up in your emails. Sparky's made another video, go and watch it. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later. Bye. Fiddler's Green stud. Oh, you are a beautiful little bike.